Hello! In a video called Planet of the Megaliths, I expressed my doubt that the pyramid located on the Spanish-French border near Lapertos could be actually ancient. In only the simple pyramid as such, not the obviously modern monument on it. So finally, somebody went on the spot and tried to do some simple research. And although there is no conclusive answer yet whether the pyramid as such is ancient, he managed to take few pictures before he was asked to leave the place by the officials. And although the new information from him is not enough to confirm whether the pyramid is ancient or not, I would say it definitely makes the full thing look even more suspicious. I'm not gonna repeat all the suspicious things I noticed before. You can watch that material in Planet of the Megaliths. There are quite a few points about this pyramid that don't match very well with the stories that they're telling us. But yeah, and so now we have a few more strange points. So first of all, the modern monument, although built very recently, is already falling apart. That's barely a surprise because modern construction is flimsy by default, but I mean, they didn't even bother to cover the bricks with something. Of course, if you just leave bricks just out there under the rain and sun, they're going to fall apart very soon. Usually, monuments are built with the idea to last, to be used as monuments, not just to build them with the expectation that they will fall apart in a couple of years and then you close them down and then the full thing is even more ugly than if you wouldn't have built anything, right? And a monument is a kind of decorative thing, no? So did they really want to build a monument as such, or did they just want to cover up somehow the ancient pyramid? Another point is that while the brick monument is falling apart, the main body of the pyramid as such is in perfect condition. The official story of how the body of the pyramid was built is as follows. They had too much excess soil when they were clearing up the terrain to build the highway, and so they had this genius idea to make pyramid out of the soil. Since this highway crosses quite a big stretch of mountainous terrain, maybe there are other pyramids on the way, huh? The workers, they just built a few hundred pyramids with all the excess soil. But if the body of the pyramid was made merely of soil, it wouldn't look as it does nowadays. It would turn into a regular hill after few rainfalls. It wouldn't look much different from the numerous hills around with oval shape. But that's not the case. So I asked Joachim what is the pyramid made of, and he says it looks like it's soil mixed with gravel. Again, unfortunately, he could not do any actual checks because there is security there is guards, and they asked him to leave. So, okay, the pyramid obviously has some sort of shell. Otherwise, soil would of course shrink. For example, here where the natural hill meets the pyramid, there would be a gap. So if we assume that this shell is also modern work, again strange that they decided to build a pyramid out of the blue, and it didn't cross the mind of anybody to take a photograph how they were building it or to give exact details, publish anything. After all, we don't have any other such modern pyramids in Europe at all. So they should be proud of it, no? So if the casing is modern, we have to assume that they did high quality building work only on the pyramidal basis, and then they hired the low quality workers and architects to build and design the monument. Or was it as usual, just the old stuff is more durable, and when we, the monkeys, come, we build stuff that falls apart in no time? Okay, so as of today, this is the situation with the pyramid. Access forbidden, and they even put a sign explanation, they care for your security as usual. But I've been to Spain, exactly visiting historic sites, and I'm telling you, they are really dangerous places with much higher chances that something will fall on your head or you will fall on something from the height of few hundred meters, and there are no forbidden entry signs or explanation signs or anything at all. They don't care about our security on the historic sites. And here, not only they have placed signs, but they also have lifeguards who are quick to arrive if somebody's curious about the pyramid. Or maybe I'm just too dumb and I don't get the overall idea. Now I'll tell you another scenario, maybe that's a better one. This monument is closed to the public because it is very sacred for those pure souls who erect these marvelous glorification buildings officially dedicated to the unity of Catalonia between Spain and France or something like that. So maybe the steps are only for the high priests who secretly go there and make offerings of incense and flower garlands and everything to the goddess of unity. I mean, the high priests from the police station nearby. And something else, this is what Joachim, who visited the site, wrote. It is for sure a very interesting site because the pyramid is so steep that even the modern steps are not suitable for the public and dangerous. So, if we assume that even the main body of the pyramid is modern and is part of this architectural idea of building a monument, then why didn't they put proper steps? I mean, architects, they study years in school. This is basic. What is a comfortable step for a human being? These types of things you learn in school, right? That's how you become an architect. And if the overall idea is to just get rid of the piles of earth, the excess earth from the construction of the highway, why make a steep pyramid? This is much more time consuming, money consuming, work consuming. Making somewhat flatter and lower pyramid would be an obviously easier solution. But if the task was completely different, to put together some sort of cheap monument on already existing pyramid, yes, then your steps won't come out comfortable or actually usable, which happens to be the actual situation. And by the way, the rest of the area, Lepertus itself, is very rich in ancient history. There are mm, rock cut ruins, very old, and on the top of them, like they have the typical roads cut in the stone with tracks, and on the top, um, good quality ancient stonework with larger blocks, and then on the top of that, monkey quality stonework, also historic. But I can't even show you photos anymore, and indeed, very soon I may have to take most of my videos down from my channel due to copyright concerns. And that's the second topic in this video. So, about the survivors documentary, at some point last year, I decided to stop working on it and not make the final versions of the episodes. But what happened afterwards is I found so much new evidence confirming things in which even I was not sure, and confirming even more the basic backbone of the story, that I feel it will be really unfair if I don't make final versions of the episodes with the extra new information added, because people, especially in Russia, have been researching and have found really amazing stuff confirming the basic story of the survivors. So the good news is that recently I decided to resume my work on the final versions of the episodes, and the bad news is that I'm not sure how exactly I can do it, because I need literally thousands of images of various historic sites to show them next to each other, compare them, and then on the basis of that we try to stitch the story together. Otherwise it will be just talking without any evidence, right? But the problem is that although the idea of copywriting is not bad as such, for example, photographers should get their credit or payment for the work they do, there is no doubt about that, but the laws about copywriting are something completely different. In many countries, they're so vague and often unfair because they belong to the entire legal system as a whole, which by default is unfair for the common small people nowadays, at least in most countries, at least in the so-called advanced countries. And as a result, it's practically impossible for me to show you the sites I want. If I would make an endeavor to make it absolutely waterproof in a legal sense, then I would need to hire a couple of people full-time to all day research the image rights of the thousands of images that I'm using, and then desperately trying to contact the owner of the copyright of the particular image. This is a lot of work. And even in this imaginary scenario that I hire a team of people doing all this work, still the result would be that I cannot use, I don't know, many or maybe even most of the images anyway, because first of all, for many images it's impossible to track their actual owner, because they're posted on many thousands, if not millions of websites. So you cannot find out who is the owner, or in other cases they could be too expensive, or in other cases they're sold illegally. For example, like Getty Images, it's a very famous provider of images. They have been caught again and again to just harvest images from the internet without contacting the photographer who did the actual work. After that, they sell them to unsuspecting buyers, and at the end, those buyers, although they have paid for the image, they can still be sued by the actual photographer, who happens to own the original in better resolution, and that's how he can prove that he is the actual copyright owner. So he can sue those clients of Getty Images, and nobody cares that you are actually not a fraudster, you are the defrauded, because they have the unfair laws on their side. And at the end of the day, it always depends on the local law of the country where one lives. So I checked the copyright laws of the country where I live, and they're absolutely vague. There is not even any definition at all of what is fair use, although they say there is fair use, but they don't define what that means. But what I noticed is that the possible punishments are quite reasonable, and we're talking about some fines, and that's in the case of commercial use. By So let's say hypothetically, if somebody takes me to court for it, most likely the punishment will be very minimal, a risk worth taking for the work I do. But then the problem is that even if at the end I'm fined, let's say 10 or 20 euro for the use of a certain image, I will still be guilty, and I will still have to pay lots of legal expenses for all the lawyers who have worked for the opposite party to get me. And such legal expenses are actually a lot. I was even trying to find information of what kind of money are we talking about, but it's impossible. They don't even tell you that. So yeah, vague, unfair laws backed up by extremely unfair legal system. That's the problem. So what is the solution? There is solution, maybe. The survivors could be production owned by somebody from a country where the copyright laws would be favorable. There are still countries which actually allow free use, non-commercial use of images without necessarily asking the photograph. As long as you don't make money, they accept it. It's legal. And if I'm just a speaker in my videos, but the production belongs to somebody else, the full copyright thing belongs to the person who is in charge of the production. Countries that may have such laws, this again needs to be researched more locally, because I'm reading some sort of translations of laws, and that may not be correct, or the information could be incomplete. Such countries could be Thailand, North Korea, and Iceland, and many others. If you live, for example, in the European Union or US or Canada, don't even bother to check that. It's impossible to do anything sensible over there. But if you live in somewhat a wilder place, the laws could be actually still fair. And if you wish to help me, maybe we could make some production together, and you will be completely legal, because in your country, and you only answer to your government as long as you live in your country and it is independent. For example, here in the European Union, we are not independent. The countries are no longer independent. They have voluntarily submitted to a central government, but countries in Asia, in Africa, they're still basically independent. So if you can check the laws in your own country, and if you wish to make a production together with me, please contact me, and you can find the contact details in the description of this video. Thank you.